It's Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. Here's Jeff Parles.
Welcome in. It is Sports by the Book here at the South Point Studio. I'm Jeff Parles. Guys, we've made it. The first Sunday of the NFL season. We are so happy to be with you here today at the South Point Studio. The sports book behind me, it's full. The lines have been going all morning. So still have time, about an hour, to get your bets in for the 10 a.m. Pacific window of NFL games. And joining me right now, the sportsbook director here at the South Point, our guy Chris Andrews, all ready to go in the Kenny Pickett jersey and all.
Friend of mine bought me this. I felt it was appropriate to wear today. By the way, I have dinner bet with one of my best friends who's a big San Francisco 49er fan. So we have a dinner bet going. So I figured I'd give it all the good karma I could. So here I am.
I think you're going to have the right side.
Don't put the eyes on me, Jeff.
I don't know. I don't know for a fact.
I don't know either. I don't know.
We'll find out in about 4 hours from now. Steelers and 49ers, one of the big ones in the 10 a.m. Eastern or 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern slate today. All right, Chris, it's week one. How's everything going? How's I mean, it's jammed already here an hour before a game.
And, we look back. Our handle yesterday was probably 30%, 40%, not about 30% higher than the same Saturday last year. The handle's been terrific. Looks like, doesn't look too bad today either, by the way. So games are getting steamed. We got 12 windows here. We got 11 kiosks. We got 2 over in the racebook. We got a lot of people here working, and we'll get everybody in. I know that we seem to do that every week. A lot of action today.
Are any games particularly standing out right now?
Yeah, I got a couple that we're really getting steamed on. The Commanders, we don't do anything with the juice. We do everything at minus 110. Yep. So we've been at 7. It's really just a huge public play on the Commanders minus the 7. I understand that they're going against Arizona, who I think everybody has them penciled in as the worst team in the league. But I hate to go to 7.5. I think we probably will very briefly, but I'm going to wait to take a little bit more action at the minus 7. The other games, Saints and Titans are getting a lot of play. We're right around that 3, again, because we do everything at minus 110. That always gets a lot of play. But tonight's game, Giants and Cowboys, we're that 3.5 game on a Sunday night game, and it's the Giants and the Cowboys. I mean, we are going to do a ton of business on that game. We already have, and we got it's the get even or get even worse game. So that's the way it's going to be tonight.
100% factual on that last part, Chris. The chase game, as we like to call it, Giants and Cowboys tonight. You're still sitting at 3, right?
I'm at 3 right now. We've been back and forth, 3.5. I'm at 3 right now. But a couple other games. The games that are getting steamed right now from the sharp players. They love to bet the dogs late in the week because they feel the public pushes up the prices on the favorites. So right now, the 3 steam games this morning, once again, no surprise, all dogs. Texans getting 9. It was 10. They're taking now 9.5 against the Ravens. The Colts, who are playing the Jaguars, they took. But a guy come in last night. He bet me $20,000 on the point spread and $10,000 on the money line on the Colts. And Tampa Bay, who a lot of guys had them penciled in as one of the worst teams in the league, but they're getting a lot of play this morning against the Minnesota Vikings.
And also, too, Cincinnati and Cleveland, one that has been moving through the summer as well.
That's been moving back and forth. We got pretty good two-way action on that game. We're in dead number territory. It's been between like 1 and 2, so there's no rush to the window to grab a number in that game. But I'll tell you what, we got a lot of teaser play on the Browns. Teasing that up, a 6-point teaser. I saw yesterday somebody posted, we have the best teaser prices in town in NFL and college. So guys are coming in. They like to get that home dog up to a touchdown. And over the years, that's not a bad play.
Yeah, and there are some really good teaser positions out there today and throughout this week 1 card. That may end up being the only way I end up playing this, other than my Steelers.
Well, you're no Lone Ranger, I can tell you that. There's a lot of guys playing that.
Hey, look, going with the herd works every once in a while, right?
Yeah, ask Deion Sanders. Yeah.
Colorado, of course, winning big yesterday against Nebraska. Chris, of course, unique to the South Point. You always have the first team to score in the early window and then the most points for Sunday. And Chris, I just have to remind everyone on this because this will happen at least a dozen times today. It's not the first team to score by time of day.
Right.
It's first team to score by time of game. Just
Right.
remember that, everyone.
Yeah, you got to go by the game clock. By the way, it's not first to score; it's first touchdown.
Yeah, first touchdown. Excuse me. Yes.
So that's we started doing that a couple years ago, and guys love it. It's kind of like when we get to the NCAA tournament, first to 15.
Oh, everyone loves that one.
People love that. So you get some action right away, and it's decided in the first couple minutes. And you got some nice prices. I mean, the favorites, the Ravens, they're 8-1. I mean, that's a pretty good price for a favorite. So we got some good prices out there, and of course. Jeff, along with that, we also put the highest scoring team of the day. Now, of course, you have to wait till the Sunday night game's over because you never know. But yesterday, we do it for college and pros. Yesterday, it was Florida State was the highest scoring team. What they have, Jeff? 63 or 66 or something like that. Yeah, they had a lot. Whatever it was, they won it. They were one of the. Yeah, it's funny. We usually need the favorites in that because they usually try to bet a dog. And I can see it. I mean, you never know, especially early in the season, you catch lightning in a bottle on some of these teams. And first to score, I think yesterday was Kansas State. So, so we had some pretty good action there yesterday, and again, it's carried over to today.
Oklahoma, the team that scored the most in Week 1, Florida State. Now in Week 2, they did have 66 last
66. Okay, I knew it was in the 60s
against Southern Miss. Just real quick on the first touchdown of the early slate, I would imagine is it Arizona or Houston is the long shot here?
Let's see. Well, they're not that long. That's the thing. They're both 25-1. Because you never know.
Still a really nice price.
Listen, it's very random. It's very random. We've known that over the years. There's no real big favorite and there's no real big underdog. But listen, we watch the the theoretical hold. We keep it pretty tight. So, we want to give guys a shot at the money.
Hey, if Josh Dobbs leads Arizona down to an opening drive touchdown, that's what Week 1's all about, right? And it'll also scare everyone that's in the survivor pool.
Oh, my gosh. You'll have guys, I'm glad we don't let them go to the top of the South Point here. We might have some jumpers.
I know I have Washington. I have Washington in the one survivor pool I'm in, which
makes sense.
Hey, look.
Because you're probably not going to use them again this year.
Well, the only time they might be favored the whole year other than when they play the Giants at home.
Yeah.
So, a real chance that we're taking one and done. And, hey, if they lose, so be it. If I get beat by Josh Dobbs, I can't be too mad, right? It's totally ridiculous. All right, Chris, before we let you go, it's Week 1.
Yeah.
Been at this a long time. The juice is
44 years.
The juices still get flowing on this first Sunday of the year.
I can hardly sleep at night. Seriously, I get up and think, well, might as well have some coffee and get going. So here we go.
Absolutely. Also, too, new Sunday ticket package this year as well, right?
Yeah, we got, I was trying to help my wife get on this morning for that, but we got a lot of new offerings here at South Point. I know Vinny's going to go over a few of them.
Oh, yeah.
One I just want to mention real quick.
Please.
Because I had the sheet. Vinny can talk about it more, too, when he gets on. We have team versus team season win matchups. And I try to have something that makes some sense. Like I got the Texans versus the Cowboys. And, I mean, there's a point spread, games, whatever you want to call it, involved. Rams versus the Chargers, Steelers versus the Eagles. So, L.A. teams, Pennsylvania teams, Texas teams. I just try to match up, two Southern teams, Tennessee and Atlanta, and we got a lot of play on these. And, you got another 50 minutes, I guess, to bet these because we shut them off at 10 o'clock.
Got some time. 50 minutes to get it in.
50 minutes to get your action in.
Chris Andrews, everyone, the sportsbook director here at the South Point. Chris, always a pleasure. We will see you again soon.
I'm sure we'll be seeing each other quite a bit.
Quite a bit, for sure. Coming up next here on the South Point studio, Vinny Magliulo joins us next. We continue on Sports by the Book here at the South Point.
The bright lights, the glitz, the glamour. It all means nothing without a shot. A chance to turn dreams into reality. To change your destiny. To make history. Nothing is given. Everything earned. It's more than a race. It's a shot at a championship.
Let's go get a championship, baby!
The NASCAR playoffs return to Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the South Point 400, October 13th through 15th.
At South Point, we want you to have fun, but we also care about your well-being. Guests have access to our private, state-of-the-art fitness center. No need to miss your workout when we have everything you need, even fitness classes. Be well and be strong. And after your workout, you can look your best and feel even better with a visit to the Costa del Sur Salon. Revitalizing manicures, pedicures, haircuts, and colors for both women and men, because you deserve to look your best.
Welcome back in. It's Sports by the Book here at the South Point studio. Happy to be with you. I'm Jeff Parles. Now joining us, the Hall of Famer himself, Gone Gaming, where you can find our guy, Vinny Magliulo. It's always a pleasure. Look at you.
That's right,
First
buddy.
Sunday of the NFL season.
That's right, buddy. Here we are. It seems like the Super Bowl was just about a week ago, but no.
I don't know about that.
No, but all right, maybe a week and a half.
But they suffer through a lot of baseball in the last few months.
Interesting you mentioned baseball, right? We've got to keep on our toes for baseball. We can't, operators out there, you have to still pay attention to it, especially with all these changes, teams that are in it or locked into the Braves, for instance, right? I mean, locked into to their position, and the Orioles. Who are they bringing up? Who's getting rest? So there's a lot to keep up with baseball too, and opportunities there for bettors. So even though it's football season, still a little bit of baseball happening. But it's all about the NFL today, my friend.
Vinny, Chris talked about it a little bit. We'll go a little bit of game by game here. We'll get some other stuff as well. Team totals for today as well. But let's hop right in. Rotation number 453, 454. It's an NFC South battle right out of the gate. The Carolina Panthers on the road in Atlanta. The Falcons, a team that sharp bettors like this offseason. They bet them to win the division. They bet them over in the season win totals, Vinny. And a chance for Desmond Ridder in his first opening day start to go up against a division rival and the number one pick in Bryce Young.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's all about the Falcons and the ability to run the ball. And this is one of the games, too, where there's a rookie quarterback going for Carolina. So we do have, we'll mention the rookie quarterbacks that are starting today, and that's amazing too when you think about it. I mean, it's not like a lot of these rookie quarterbacks from it's not Dan Marino, right? John Elway, but these guys are being thrust right into it right now. There are no clipboards anymore. But this is a game, Jeff, where let's remember too that we opened this week 1 back on May 16th here at the South Point. So. This game opened with the Falcons as 3-point favorites. They laid that initial 3. It went, and we actually laid the 3.5 too. This game got as high as 4, but now settling in at 3.5. Probably more money overall on the Falcons here, but they did grab the 4. Probably that was around July, I would say. Total on this one has come down. Was as low as 39.5 off of the 43 opener, and now sitting at 40.5 here. So. I think we'll see more Falcon money in this game by the time it kicks off at 10 o'clock Pacific Daylight Time.
Falcons, again, 3.5, total 40.5 right now, as Vinny said. I have nothing on this game whatsoever. Carolina's banged up at receiver. Falcons, again, a team that a lot of people expect a lot of. I don't know how good that team's going to be because Desmond Ridder, no idea. We only saw him for a few games at the end of last season. He was okay. Wasn't anything special in those games.
Well, that's a point as well, right, Jeff? You have the opportunity to just take a wait and see approach on this one, right? You've got the rest of the menu. I mean, everybody's playing this week. There are no buys. We've got 14 games today, and of course you got the Monday Night Football game tomorrow night. But look, the good thing is, or you get involved in game, right? You watch what you see, pay attention to it, and then make perhaps an in-game play or a halftime bet.
Let's go to another one that Chris said that's been steamed over the last few minutes or hours, I should say. Houston down to 9.5-point underdogs at Baltimore. Mark Andrews is not going to play for the Ravens today. Isaiah Likely will be the number one tight end for the Ravens. First NFL start for number 2 overall pick C.J. Stroud. Mecco Ryans, first game as a head coach back in Houston. 43.5 the total. Ravens laying 9.5, Vinny.
Yep, we did open this one 9.5 last spring. Stood at 10 for a long time. This is a big teaser game, by the way. This a lot of teasers on the Ravens. I don't think that's surprising anybody. But the money that is in on the Texans with another rookie quarterback getting the nod here is professional money, right? And they look at it as it's a bet on the price. Remember, again, professionals bet numbers. They took a touchdown and a half. Fans and casual bettors bet teams. Overall, even though the Sharps, if you will, did take the 10 with this one, particularly with the teaser and parlay liability, we're going to need the Texans in this one.
Texans, again, the biggest dog here in week number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Commanders and Arizona, which we'll get to in a little bit. Vinny, on a game that's totaled like that, just curious, team total-wise, for Houston and Baltimore, of course, 9.5-point spread and 43.5, which I would say a few years ago would be a pretty low total, but today 43.5 is basically right in the middle for this early slate.
Yeah, it's a good point you bring up. Years ago, and I'll say, when let's say Chris, Jimmy, and I got into this business, you kind of started NFL totals. Your base point was about 38, 39,
right,
and then you adjusted from there. Now it's actually higher, right? I mean, you're probably using your base point as 41, maybe even 42. So, look, the thing about it is that, and there's a correlation here too, right? It did open 44.5. Again, there's more parlays to the favorite and over, and that's the correlation. If you like the favorite, you're going to probably go over. But if you like the dog, you're gonna go under. So there's your correlation parlay for this one.
Going to Ohio next, Vinny. Cleveland, Cincinnati. Joe Burrow is going to play, so good there for the Bengals. Right now, you guys are sitting 1 with Cincinnati laying it.
Well, we just, as we speak, and we give everything in real time here, and based on betting here, Jeff. This game opened 2.5. Again, I go back to the middle of last May. The Bengals. There was an initial move and kind of a wait and see approach, right? When Joe Burrow had that calf injury early in camp, and it was radio silence coming from the medical staff. So what would we have to do? You had to hold up on this game. You had to hold up on futures and things like that just to see and verify the severity of that injury. So the fact that he's playing here has not slowed down the bettors one bit. This game is we just went to pick when Chris started the show with you at the top of the hour, and as I was coming in the studio, we were at 1, but we just went to pick. A lot of Browns money here. This is pretty respected money here too, and I'd say that this is a game where. Even the public is believing in the Browns at home in this one. Total on this game 47. Open. It's where it opened.
Yeah.
Did get as high as 48, but not a lot of movement there.
Just want to ask you real quick.
Yeah.
With Burrow, of course, got the highest contract
in
the history of the league earlier this week.
Mm-hmm.
Not a shock there. Even with the reputation of Mike Brown, you knew that was going to get done. We knew that contract was going to get done. Mm-hmm. But he suffered a calf injury about 5 weeks ago. He's going to play today. Cincinnati says he's as close to 100% as he can be. Is there anything when you're dealing with an elite quarterback injury where, he's playing, but we haven't seen him play at all in the preseason? And last year, he didn't play in the preseason at all.
Right.
Because he had an appendectomy, and week 1, Burrow was a mess. The 5-turnover game against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, well, there is some history there, right? But don't forget, that's why we didn't open this game 3, right?
Right.
So, I mean, there and of course he had the knee injury if you go back even farther, right? So, look, the biggest issue with the Bengals over the last few years, and they tried to address it in the last 2 off seasons, was the offensive line, right? And then Burrow, maybe getting rid of the ball quicker, and so I think they've made that adjustment. However, let's remember this: this is a Cleveland team with a lot of weapons, and is Deshaun Watson, or does he have a chip on his shoulder? Right? Let's remember he missed most of last season. Everything is behind him. It's going to be interesting to see this. Nobody's talking about the Browns this year, right? In the division, even. So when you look at it, I think that there is, look, show me, and that's what people are betting on.
It's interesting because there's a mix for me from people that I like in the space, Vinny, where some of them haven't mentioned Cleveland at all. Yep. Some of them have said, you know what, our friend the Bear, Chris Felica, actually has the Browns in the Super Bowl.
Okay,
so
maybe not nobody.
It's a varying opinion. It's either that the Browns are an afterthought, or people that are high on Cleveland are, to me, a little too aggressively high on the Browns this year.
Well, look at the division odds. It's pretty compact, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the Brown.
What is Cincinnati?
Cincinnati
right now?
is 6-5, so plus 120 on Cincinnati.
Remember, we don't like fractions.
No, I like them.
I know you do, but some of us don't.
I translate. I said 6-5, so plus 120. Then you've got plus 220 on the Ravens. You've got 3-1 on the Steelers, and under 4-1. You got just at 380, soon to be 360 on the Browns. So it's a pretty compact a group there on this index. And so, but there, when I say not a lot of people are talking about the Browns as much as, say, the Steelers perhaps as a surprise team, right? And of course the Bengals. And everybody loves the Ravens.
So I've said this on other platforms, Vinny. This is the best division in football, top to bottom. Because to me, Cleveland or Pittsburgh, whoever you have as the worst team in the division, they're better than New England in the AFC East. Yeah, and I think top to bottom, and I like Cincinnati more than Buffalo. I think the Jets and the Ravens are pretty even, and I like Miami slightly more than Pittsburgh, but it's pretty negligible when it's all said and done. Those are the two best divisions.
Well, there's a lot of there's a lot of belief in these teams. If you talk to people, they're more than any other division in the AFC. People are making more cases for all 4 teams. To your point. So I mean, I could, when you look at the AFC East, you've got the long shot as the Patriots. I know that looks strange to people, but it's a sign of the times. Under center, 6-1. The Texans in the South at 10-1. You look at the West, the Raiders, our own Raiders, which is surprising because they're 10-1, but the Raiders have drawn, and we took a big bet this week at 25-1 to win the Super Bowl. So there's a lot of which, but yet again, not a lot of love for them in the division, and not a lot of love for them in regular season win. They bet their regular season wins under by a full game. So go figure.
We have more games to get to, Vinny. We're going to get through as many games as we can. About 35 minutes from kickoff, week 1, the first Sunday of the NFL season. We're back with more Sports by the Book here at the South Point Studio.
Once you've satisfied your hunger, get ready for more of the hottest casino games in Vegas. Our 24-hour, 30-table non-smoking poker room proudly hosts all the most popular poker games with a variety of betting limits. Visit the poker room for a schedule of daily tournaments. Whether you're going to hold them or fold them, the best place for poker is at South Point Casino. You'll notice that our craps tables are usually the loudest in the casino. If you've never played, join one of our free craps lessons to find out what makes this game so exciting. Check with the craps dealer for schedules and give it a roll. Bingo is also an exciting way to spend your time. We offer 7 sessions of bingo every day. Bingo! And each session includes a cash ball jackpot, 12 bingo games, a progressive double action game, and a $10,000 bonus coverall. Electronic units are available. If you haven't played bingo with us, give it a try today. Guests can also get in on the action at our one-of-a-kind race and sports books. 2 separate rooms designed to maximize your experience and comfort. Our sports book, with over 400 seats, puts you right in the middle of the action, 24 hours a day. The friendly ticket writers are happy to help, and it's conveniently located next to the famous Del Mar Deli, where you'll find supersized portions of delicious deli items like roast beef, pastrami, and Reuben sandwiches, or soups, salads, and pizza, plus spectacular desserts fit for a king. And right next door is the Racebook. Over 150 seats, each with its own TV screen. There are 16 interactive player terminals, so you can bet right from your seat.
Welcome back in Sports by the Book here at the South Point studio. I'm Jeff Parles. Happy to be with you as always. Vinny Magliulo alongside Week 1 NFL. Back in action, baby. Back in action. You're rubbing your hands. This is just so much fun to be here on this first Sunday. Vinny, let's get to an AFC South matchup. 459-460. Colts hosting Jacksonville. So the Colts have taken some money the last 24 hours, haven't they?
Yes, they have, because a couple of days ago they were at 5. So this game did open 4, so it looks like it hasn't moved, but that's not the case. Again, going back to the fact that we've got several months to book these guys. Listen, because everybody's so excited for the NFL to return, and the fact that these games have been up since the middle of May, no surprise that this is, aside from Thanksgiving weekend, the highest handle regular season weekend of the fall, right? I think that shocks anybody. But open 4, got as high as 5, and was 5 just a couple of days ago. I mean,
it was 5 last night
on Friday, and then as late as last night, as recently as last night. So down to 4 here again. More respected money on that because the public does love the Jaguars, and the total on this one, pretty good move here. 3-point move to now 46 on this total, Jeff.
So for contest plays, Indianapolis was in there, but for traditional wise, in those contests you got to find 5, and it's hard.
It is. But speaking of contests, I want to just point out something. Our little
don't forget the jackpot card.
Now this jackpot card.
Don't forget that.
$5, and you've got right up until kickoff. We did not put the
Thursday
night game on it to give folks the extra couple of days to bet. $5, no point spreads. Most winners gets paid. Everything goes into it's 25. Michael Gahn, owner of the South Point here, put it out. He put it out for several years. 25,000 guaranteed. It has always gone through. We're approaching 37,000. So even though we got to the 25, we don't take that and put it in our pocket. We add it too. So Michael takes 25,000 out of his pocket and then adds it as a bonus. So as we speak, right before I came over, Chris and I were looking at the numbers with Jimmy Vaccaro and approaching 37,000. Should go through 37,000 by the time first kickoff happens.
Sounds pretty good to me, right?
Yes, it is.
Sounds real good, for sure. Let's go to Minnesota and Tampa. This is another one. This one I'm a little bit surprised by, Vinny, because Tampa was a team that was disrespected in the market all offseason.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I know Minnesota, 13 wins, negative point differential. I know the whole thing from last year, but Tampa there's even a 3.5 in the market right now.
Yeah, I see that.
Game.
I see this game.
You guys are actually market high on Minnesota still at 4.5.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to continue to come down though, Jeff, as we speak. And I mean, Minnesota with some injuries. And let's face it, look, Minnesota, do they come back from last year where they won so many one-possession games late in the games? And I think that's what people are thinking about here, I guess, also, too. This was a matter of just taking in week 1. Dogs are alive in week 1. If you're going to bet dogs, and for bettors out there, casual bettors, realize this, that if you're going to sustain any kind of profitability during the course of the season, there are times you're going to have to go with underdogs. So that said, in this one, 6.5 on the opener. And it's been a steady all through the spring and the summer, steady flow of Tampa money, and now down to 4.5. I think, as you mentioned,
you just moved to 4, right?
Yep, we just went to 4 because there are 3.5s out there. So again, we give it to you in real time here in the South Point studio on Sports by the Book, buddy. And,
Vinny by the Book as well.
Vinny by the Vinny on Twitter. Yep, Vinny by the Book. So. Thanks to my son for getting that out there.
Bravo. It's great. It's perfect.
I go with your generation, you see,
hey,
to
look,
help me with the
perfect.
technology.
Perfect for sure. I'm going to probably end up betting Minnesota by the time this game kicks. Then if Tampa beats me, so be it. I'll go against the steam very happily with the team.
Okay.
I have Tampa power rated as team 30 this year for me.
Yeah,
I have them low. Only I have Arizona and Houston as worse.
That's about right. And Indy's in that.
And
game.
Indy was
not that.
Indy, I think, was like 0.1 ahead.
Yeah,
of Tampa.
they're in that group there. There's I will tell you, during the course of the season, there'll be more Sundays that we need those 4 teams than
I
not.
believe it.
And even if they come in today, it's going to knock out a lot of multi-leg bets like parlays and teasers.
Well, again, I mentioned Survivor before. Week 1 last year was one of the most ridiculous Survivor weeks of all time, where in most pools, the top 5 choices all lost in week 1 a year ago.
Yeah, I remember San Francisco was one of them at Chicago. But how about the first year? It was the Colts. The Colts knocked out.
That was one of those where I know Jacksonville's awful on paper, but Indy hasn't won a Jacksonville since I was in college.
But this was 2 years ago. I think it was the initial.
This was. I think it was the pandemic season. Actually. I think it was when Rivers
it was
there,
the first.
2020.
It was the first
full
season. Yeah. So, that's tread lightly.
Tennessee,
Dogs.
New Orleans next, Vinny.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want the best number possible on Tennessee, you come to the South Point.
That's correct.
Because you are the only minus 110 plus 3 on Tennessee in the market still. Total 42 here, which is also, you want the under, the best number in the market.
Yeah, that was what it opened, Jeff. It hasn't really moved that much, the total between 41 and 42. So there's not a lot of movement there. But we did open the Saints at 3.5. That got gobbled up pretty early. And then it's gone back and forth between 2.5 and 3. In fact, we just went to 3 within the last hour.
Mm-hmm.
So some Saints money's come in here. What are your respected sides, though, or opinions, I should say, on the Titans in this game?
Let's go to Pittsburgh next. Steelers touched 3 most of the summer. Now 2. Vinny, 41.5. I like the Steelers outright. I have 3 in my pocket from a few weeks ago when it was apparent it was going to move off of it. Just one of those. Brock Purdy getting handed the keys to the car just 6.5 months after UCL surgery.
Well, here we have two very solid defenses, right? But I think the difference is obviously more offensive weapons for the 49ers.
Great. Arguably the best roster in football sans the quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, so look, when you look at this one, and again, we're going to see the Steelers here in Las Vegas in a couple of weeks, the Raiders home opener.
Can I ask you something real quick about that?
Yeah.
What is your crowd percentage number for Steelers fans at Allegiant?
At Allegiant?
Yeah.
Well,
what do you make? What is the official line?
I'm going to say it wouldn't shock me if it's 50-50. I know there's
over.
Well, my listen, we're very biased here as a staff. I'm my Pittsburgh brethren here,
of course,
are already. You saw Chrissy in here.
Yeah, he was wearing a Kenny Pickett jersey.
Could it be 60-40 Steelers? It wouldn't shock me. But look, the Raiders are in demand. I mean, the Raiders have fallen into the Las Vegas as an event-driven destination aspect. I mean, it's the hottest ticket in the NFL.
It's the hardest ticket,
right?
In the NFL.
And what happens is that folks that come here, they find a way. They'll go on the market and open market, and they'll get tickets and they'll turn it into an extended weekend, and it's the focus of the trip. So you're going to see that at Raider games quite a bit than you would have seen up in Oakland.
Well, on this year, it's a whole boatload of teams that haven't been here yet.
Oh yeah,
it's Pittsburgh week 3, Green Bay a few weeks later.
Right,
both New York teams come back-to-back weeks.
Yeah.
And Minnesota comes later in the year.
As well.
In December. You don't want to get out of Minneapolis in December to come to Vegas?
And we see, of course, we've seen since the Raiders have been here, that same feature with the Broncos, who travel very well, Kansas City Chiefs as well. So, look, that's impacted, by the way, the home field here in town.
Is it negative yet on the home field?
No, it's not negative. It's not negative.
Are we ever going to hit that?
No, I don't think we'll ever see
never see a negative home
I don't
field.
think we're going to see what we saw with the Chargers when they moved to L.A. a few years
in the soccer
back,
stadium,
or what we saw for a period of time with the Jags a few years back. Look, it's still the Raiders. This is still a Raider town. There'll be a Raider presence. It won't be negative.
Still be one, right? 1.5.
Absolutely. Teams still have to travel. They have to be here. So
long way from the East Coast, that's for sure. Let's get one more game in here, Vinny. The last game of the 10 a.m. Pacific slate. Washington, Sam Howell, second career start, first opening day. How about your 7-point favorite against more likely than not Josh Dobbs for the Arizona Cardinals? Lowest total of the day, 38 points, Vinny.
Yeah, they bet it under. They bet under 40. They bet under 39. And now you mentioned it. We're sitting at 30. Yeah, the quarterback matchup that everybody wants to see. The quarterback matchup of the day.
Hal Dobbs, let's go.
What you know? What this game may surprise some folks. Who knows, right?
I hope it doesn't.
I mean, look. Again, we mentioned earlier the teaser aspect with the Ravens being the popular teaser choice. Well, this one here's another one with the Commanders as a very popular teaser choice as well. So. No question, and I don't think a real surprise that House is going to need the Cardinals today to at least cover.
Not much of a shock whatsoever on that. The Cardinals lowest win total for the year, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
4.5.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're even some 3.5s.
Yeah,
other
we're
shops,
some 3.5s on.
That is 17-game season. 3.5 is a wildly low number, and of course, the one that we all remember the most was the tanking Dolphins team in 2019. That ended up actually causing really the most important win, arguably, of the whole regular season. That gave Kansas City home field instead of New England, and Tom Brady gets knocked out in the wild card weekend in his final Patriot game. Changed the whole course of NFL history. That win in Week 7.
Players want to play for their jobs.
Yeah. Well, and also Ryan Fitzpatrick should never be playing on a tanking football team. The guy was too good to be on a tanking football team. One more segment to go for us here on Sports by the Book. He's Vinny Magliulo. I'm Jeff Parles. We have more to get to, the late afternoon slate and some Sunday night football action in New Jersey. When we come back, Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio, Authentic Sports Talk.
If you're celebrating a special occasion or just love fine dining, you're in the right place. Come experience the crown jewel of South Point restaurants, Michael's Gourmet Room.
Welcome.
With over 600 different types of wines and magnificent dishes prepared tableside, you'll revel in the rich classic Vegas decor and the best black tie service in the world. This intimate gourmet room has earned accolades galore. Come to Michael's Gourmet Room for an unforgettable dining experience. Another famous restaurant is the Silverado Steakhouse, where you'll find the charm and service that discerning patrons require. From top quality steaks and chops to fresh seafood and desserts, you'll love the award-winning wine list and menu at Silverado Steakhouse. Steak lovers have even more options with primarily prime rib. Catering to hearty appetites, the menu features a variety of flavorful prime rib cuts, dry-aged to ensure tenderness, and then seasoned and slowly roasted. Although prime rib is our specialty, it's not the only thing on the menu. There's something for everyone. And if you're craving a taste of Italy, come experience delicious Italian cuisine and the attentive service at Don Vito's. Our culinary team starts with the freshest ingredients and transforms them into traditional favorites. And don't forget Italian desserts. Don Vito's. Savor the taste of Italy. Finally, if sushi is more your style, join us at the popular Zenshin Asian restaurant and sushi bar, where we're serving up the freshest sashimi, nigiri, and sushi rolls. And beyond the sushi, an exciting contemporary Asian cuisine menu, plus a variety of specialty drinks, Japanese and domestic beer, wine, and sake. Balance your hunger with Zenshin.
20 minutes until kickoff for the early games of Week 1. I'm Jeff Parles. Sports by the Book is the show at the South Point Studio. Vinny Magliulo alongside me. You're going to be seeing a lot of us on these NFL Sundays moving forward. It's a good thing. It's a very good thing.
Right adjacent to the sports book here at the South Point, buddy.
Full,
and you can see.
And just remember, Vinny, people have had 5 months to bet these games, and there will be plenty of people that don't get their bets in on time.
Well, if they don't get them in, they didn't want to bet bad enough. So,
Yeah.
but we'll get everybody in. We got 12 windows here. We've got 11 kiosks. We've got windows open in the race book as well. So we'll get everybody in.
Bet number, bet type, bet amount.
That's Jimmy Vaccaro. That's
There
right.
you go.
That's like Bob Shepard at Yankee Stadium.
It is.
Yeah.
It absolutely is. Vinny.
We went to break, Jeff. We were
Yes.
talking about the let's give an update here.
Steelers.
The Steeler game just went to 49ers. We went into break. They went down to 1.5 from 2, and now as we come back, the 49ers are 1 in Pittsburgh against the Steelers. So a lot of late money coming in on the Steelers. And one other offering I wanted to point out here at South Point, every team has a total. Every team. So you can bet over and under on each team's individual point total for the day, and obviously it includes the entire game, and if there's any overtime. So just another offering. We expanded the offerings here for football, and the response has been terrific.
There's nothing wrong with more football bets.
No, buddy.
People will bet them.
More
You know it.
options. More options.
More
Absolutely.
options is good. More options is good for the better, and it's good for you guys as well.
Yeah.
More business.
Mhm.
All that means.
Yeah.
Let's go to Chicago next. This is the late window, 125 Pacific, 325 local at Soldier Field. Really a gigantic matchup out of the gate in the NFC North, especially with Detroit getting a game that I don't think anyone really expected them to get on Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
Green Bay is now a 1-point underdog against the Bears. 41 is the total. Big injury in this one. Christian Watson is out with a hamstring injury for the Packers, but Vinny, the line didn't move at all when that was announced on Friday.
No, Bears opened 2.5 though. But there's been more money overall on the Packers during the spring and the summer here. And again, we opened at 2.5. They took everything down to where we are right now at 1. So haven't seen any picks yet. But I think there'll be Bear money. I'm just glad too that we've got 5 afternoon games. Remember, there have been times when we see 2 or 3 afternoon games, and the morning is just so overloaded. So this is a nice balance today here. Credit the schedule makers at the NFL.
They do a good job in week 1, and then after that they forget what
I wanted
exists.
to point that out. Now next week I might go on a rant, but that's okay.
Oh well, hey,
We'll see.
Look, week 2, everyone's eyes will be on Arlington, Texas, for Aaron Rodgers and the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
We do have 4 next week in the late slate.
Good, there you go. That's better than previous years.
And there's 2 Mondays next week. So
like that too. We love that in our world.
But I do not. Hey, look, more Monday night games good with me. I'll have to break out the multiple television sets for that one, or you just plop yourself in one of the nice, comfortable chairs behind us here. At
Just
the
come
South
right
Point
here
Sports
to the
Bar.
South Point. You won't miss any games.
You won't miss anything at all. All right, let's go. The local team. Oh, it looks like the Raiders are actually getting bet the last few minutes at some shops. And Vinny, you guys are down to 3 on the Broncos laying it at home. 43.5 the total. Raiders and Denver. Raiders did sweep the Broncos a year ago.
Yep.
Of course, Sean Payton now the head coach of the Broncos. And Vinny, one thing that we'll bring up, it didn't work last year in week 2 because Hackett was Hackett in that game against Houston. But Denver is usually awesome against the number early in the season at home.
Yeah, well, I mean, altitude, right? I mean, and that it is a terrific home field as well.
One of the best.
And what we're going to see just how much, everybody talks about Hackett, but listen, Russell Wilson did not have a Russell Wilson year, right? So we'll see if Sean Payton makes a change there. I think a lot of people believe that because at least they believed it early on, because this game did probably around late June, early July. This game got as high as 5 off of the 3.5 opener. Now, as you mentioned, we were at 3.5 on Friday, and we're now sitting at 3. So overall, I guess you could say a good two-way betting number, because there'll be local Raider money, but there'll also be support for the Broncos here. 43.5 totals down about a point and a half. But this one, again, going to be featured here at South Point this afternoon, our local team.
Man, I really don't want to lay the Broncos, but I might end up playing it now that it's down
Again,
to 3.
That's it. It pays to shop
Oh,
and watch.
Man, I'm not a fan of either of these teams going into the year. The Raiders, if Garoppolo gets hurt, really have big time bottom out potential. And Russell Wilson was awful last year, genuinely awful. So Sean Payton, to me, first ballot Hall of Fame head coach. he's got his work cut out for him.
Well, he does. There's no question. I mean, so. But again, you don't have to bet every game.
Trust me, I don't.
We have to book every game. So there's where you can again pace yourself.
Definitely pace yourself since these games have been up forever. A little bit bad. I'm more active week 2. Week 1, I'm
sure.
pretty quiet
Okay.
more times than not.
All right.
Chargers and Dolphins are next. This is a really good matchup out of the gate. And Vinny, it's rare to say about a week 1 game, but this could actually have playoff tie-breaking implications for two teams that expect to be in the mix all the way through. Chargers 3-point favorites. Total for you guys right now, 51, Vinny, which is a market high.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw this matchup late in the season last year. Chargers really shut down the Miami passing attack on a Sunday night.
Yeah, there's a lot of high hopes for both of these teams right now. Justin Herbert with another year under his belt. If the Chargers can stay healthy, particularly in the receiving core, then there's going to be a lot of support for them. People are high on the Dolphins too, though. But they were high on them last year when they got Tyreek Hill. Figured to be a bit better defensively. Vic Fangio
Great
now.
coordinator.
So I think from again, some coaches really find their niche as coordinators rather than wearing the main headset as the head coach. So there figures to be support and an improvement to the Dolphins defense. This is going to be a great bet game. Pretty much two-way, Jeff. I mean, we opened at 2.5, but it's been at 3 for all summer long, and that's where we sit today. And not a lot of movement with the total. I think there'll be support for the total here as we get closer to that afternoon kickoff. There'll be some over money on the 51.
Two really good offenses on paper.
Yeah.
Again, I agree with you. Miami's defense looks to be a lot better. They'll be better coordinated.
Yep.
And they went out, even though Jalen Ramsey's still hurt, as we know. Dolphins 3-point underdogs on the road. In quotations at SoFi Stadium with the Chargers' lack of a home field advantage. Obviously, a long flight for Miami.
It's better. It's better than it was a couple of years ago because I think the team is better, right? So
and they're not playing in the soccer stadium.
But yeah, I mean it's not one of the better home fields.
New England and Philly next. Tom Brady being honored at Gillette today in Foxborough. The bettors have taken New England in this game down to 3.5. 44.5, people buying into the quote-unquote curse of the Super Bowl loser that the Bengals, lost week 1, but ended up being one of the best teams in football a year ago, despite losing the Super Bowl 2 seasons ago.
Well, when you look at the Patriots, what's it going to be? It's going to be about trying to run the ball and not certainly match score for score with the Eagles. Eagles have, as road favorites in recent years, not the greatest cover team. And I think that people are going with Belichick here. A couple of added weapons, even though they're older. Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield, and look, I just think that it's not a real shock here that they took the 5, they took the 4.5 and the 4, so we're sitting at 3.5. Will there be some public Eagle money as we get into the afternoon? Probably. And I think this total will tick back up from the 44.5.
If this touches 3, I think I'm going to lay it with Philly.
Probably.
If this touches 3.
Yeah, we'll find the threshold, and it may very well be 3.
Yeah, I mean, there are some 3.5s minus 20 on New England out there right now. So there is a chance this thing touches 3 by game time.
Could be.
At least for a little bit. But that would probably be a play on Philly for me at 3. All right, Seattle and the Rams. Rams have taken some money here, actually, Vinny. You guys still have a 5.45 your total right now.
Yeah, well, I'm seeing 4.5s. Again, we opened at 5.5. No real difference between the 5 and the 5.5. But I will tell you, the public will be on the Seahawks in this game. This is another teaser, another teaser game here. Your 3-team teaser today on the part of the public is the Ravens, it's the Commanders, and the Seahawks.
All
real
the
shock. So again, that's the other thing. If you're going to bet teasers, try to get as many points as you can. But from a public standpoint, they love those teams. And I don't blame them. They're favored for a reason, right? And there's some belief that the Seahawks are going to be a sneaky good team here. The big question mark is obviously going to be at quarterback. Fast team, defense should be better than last year. some offensive weapons, particularly on the outside. So could be a playoff, a surprise playoff team to some people.
Second favorites in the NFC West right now. Seattle made the playoffs last year. Everyone, a lot of people had them as the worst team in the NFL going into last season.
Yes, no, for the play. We opened it flat. We opened it pick 'em to yes or no to make that. So there's more belief in the yes than the no.
To me, they're right in that mix. Weak NFC. If Geno can be closer to what he was in the first half of last year as opposed to the second half, they have more than enough talent on that offense to be in the postseason. And the defense, I think, will be a little better. I love their draft. I mean, their draft was as good as the draft that anyone had. Weatherspoon, the corner, Smith and Jigba, who got hurt in the preseason, though, at 19 was 20 was an absolute steal for Seattle. Let's go to Sunday night, Vinny. The Chase game.
I call it the G game.
Well, the Giants are playing.
Not the G men. Listen, I call it the G game for this reason. If it's been a so-so day for you, or it's not been a good day for you, it's the get-out game, right? And everybody loads into it. Plus, there's everything going to it from starting on Thursday night. If you had a great day, it's the gravy game, right? So why not just keep going with it? So no real surprise here that this game will have the highest handle of the day because of carryover in multi-leg bets, and that's parlays and teasers. By the way, we just went back to 3, so we're toggling back and forth between 3 and 3.5. We're not moving the money. That's not what the South Point does. And again, that's not a critique. That's just a matter of philosophy. And so right now, Cowboys 3, which is where it opened, but and the way this game has been bet so far, laying the 3 with the Cowboys, taking 3.5 with the Giants, and that's where we sit right now on the opener at 3, total 45, which is down 2 points from the opener 47.
I will say this: it's obviously Week 1 Sunday night. People are going to be firing at will. There's also Cowboys and Giants.
Sure.
So you're dealing with 2 very public teams.
No question.
To say the very least, and the Cowboys still the most public of the public teams.
Giants, listen, they made
Bettors
the playoffs
don't like
last
the
year.
Giants this year.
No, they don't like them. Even although they made the playoffs last year, there's a lot of love for the Cowboys, though, and a lot of support for the Cowboys in terms of Super Bowl futures and things like that. So, I would, are we going to need the Giants in this game? In all likelihood, but again, that it'll really vault everything going to tomorrow night. There's a game tomorrow night too, right?
I think so. We'll get that real quick. Jets and Bills. You guys are sitting at 2.5 right now. Buffalo laying it at the Meadowlands against the Jets. Aaron Rodgers' debut, 45.5. Vinny, this is going to be a monster handle game for you guys as well.
Biggest game of the weekend. And again, just like I mentioned about the Sunday night game between the Cowboys and the Giants, Jeff, everything will be going to this game tomorrow night, regardless of how folks did. So we tried to anticipate the love for the Jets, during the summer. Are they going to be the team that breaks the Hard Knocks jinx? Well, I guess we're going to find out. And look, what a monster schedule they have. They not only have their division.
First 6 weeks are brutal.
But look who they cross over to.
Yeah.
The AFC West and the NFC East.
Yeah.
So if you look at the first part. Now, last year they had a terrific first half of the season.
First half that looked hard on paper. They did great.
And then
second half that looked easier on paper.
But they couldn't score any points. Now they figure to have be able to score more points, particularly with Aaron Rodgers. Jets are all in. Their defense was solid last year. Looks to be okay. The big question for the Jets is their offensive line, right? And that was in the first game of the preseason, in the Hall of Fame game, they went with 18 combinations on the first in that game, offensive line combination. Let me tell you, it's good for the other team.
Yeah.
So let's see if they've sorted that out. This game opened 1. They've laid it all the way up to 2.5. Will it go higher? Will depend on how we do today and how the bettors fare at the counter tomorrow.
I'd be very interested to see how that moves. Von Miller not playing for Buffalo tomorrow. Miller. He is still on the PUP list, the physically unable to perform list. likely see him in the second month of the season. Vinny, you ready?
Let's go, buddy.
You ready?
Let's do it.
Few minutes. You still have a few minutes to get your bets in. Get to the window. Get to the kiosk over in the corner here at the South Point, or your mobile app as well if you have it all set up.
Fire away.
Fire away. Still got a few minutes for the 10 o'clock local time kicks, and, of course, you got plenty of time for the later slate. He's Vinny Magliulo. I'm Jeff Parles. Let's have some fun, guys. Week 1 of the NFL season. We will be with you all season long here at the South Point studio. This is Sports by the Book. See you next time.